Hey, it's Arrow, and this is Vocal Defrag. This is where we come to ask the questions and then question the answers. I keep a defrag journal as well as the Vocal Defrag. And the reason why is because, do you really know who you are on the inside, or is it an assumption game? Do you play like, oh yeah, I wouldn't do that, or I would do that, I'm going to take a chance with that, but you really don't know what's going on. But those voices in your head and heart, when they have enough strength to take over your next thought pattern or to basically just kind of level out your day, okay, man, where's the victory? And aren't we supposed to be celebrating victories on a daily basis? Or maybe we're not. I could be wrong here. But see, that's those invisible voices playing around with the process of progress. So defragging is an opportunity for you to ask yourself the questions. Just ask yourself a question and deal with the situation. But before you get to that process of decision making, not only ask the question, but question the answer. And a lot of things are going to smooth out for you because you're getting to know what's going on the inside of that self that you're carrying forward. That self is the only thing that has been with you since day one. And you know what? It'll be the only thing until the day it's time to go home. So you got to learn how to control what it is that you're doing with a relationship with that inner core of yourself, because it wants to be heard too. That's what life is all about, getting to know that inner core. Ask the questions, question the answers. This is Vocal Defrag. One of the things I want to talk about today, and I hope that we can stay focused on just this subject, but I tend to ramble a lot. Who is receiving? Who is receiving what it is that you are delivering? Your mindset, your mood swings, your thoughts, your ambitions, everything that you are, there's going to be a receiver. Do you ever focus on that? Your place of business. I don't know what you do. Are you a banker? Do you work in a warehouse? Somebody is receiving what it is that you are delivering. Do you ever find focus on them? In radio, I think one of the turning points of my career, about 10 years into the run, the jog, the path, it took me about 10 years to realize this crap isn't about me at all. It's not happening. What I need to do is I need to figure out who it is that is receiving and make it about them. And when you make it about them, suddenly everything that you're doing now has a purpose. But how are we going to feed that purpose? Well, I have to get to know who they are. And I'm only being truthful here when I say this. I may have thought about them for all of those years, but I didn't know who they were. I relied on radio station research to tell me that her name was Becky. She drove a van. She has kids in soccer. She drinks a Dr. Pepper over a Mountain Dew. That's what research shows. And then I got an essential job at a grocery store, and I realized everything that I was trained to do was pretty much wrong. That it's not just Becky out there. It's Mike. It's Jimmy. It's Nathaniel. And there's Brenda and Susan. Everybody has an individual journey. And so I face that question every day that I go to that essential job. Who is receiving what I am delivering? If I'm going to be a butthead, that means they're going to receive it. Even though I try very hard not to be a jerk or to question my trust in them, they still feel it. They receive it. Because body language is everything. So how do you deal with this? How do you put yourself in a position of learning how to better handle your moments with the receiver? Identify them. Understand that they are just as human as you are. And what's really, really weird, but very true, is that they probably have the same struggles that you do, just on different days. Understand that what they are receiving is not basically what you just read in the newspaper, but your interpretation of what's going on, your understanding of how things are working out, or they're being challenged by. The goal is to create a relationship. You cannot have a community by just going to a meeting. If you don't participate in that meeting by offering your word, your emotions, that's not community. I just showed up. I wanted to do something at the school. And do you ever talk? Do you ever speak up when things are wrong or right? No, I'm just there. I'm just a face. That's not community. We don't need supporters and followers. What we need voices. We need energy. We need strength. But who is going to receive? And I face this all the time, and I know that there are many people that I create with that do this, is that we're always afraid of what other people think of what we're doing, what we're saying. But there comes a point in your life where you go, you know what? I really don't care how people are going to receive what it is that I'm delivering. And the reason why I get to that point is because I have the confidence, the courage, and the faith, as well as the trust, that what I am sharing isn't negative, but rather maybe empowering. An opportunity to utilize the atmosphere of what is now in a world that you are building, but you can't find the answers. But damn, for some stupid reason, you ended up on a podcast, and we're talking about those decisions where you pull out too quickly. And you don't realize that maybe you should have stayed there a little bit longer so that you can learn a little bit more. And then when it's time to defend yourself, when the naysayers come up and knock on your heart, you sit there and say, hey, I'm glad you shared that with me. But let me go ahead and tell you the reason why this is happening. And the naysayer continues to knock on your heart. Man, they make sure that they're vocal. Some might yell at you. Some might just give you a dirty look. But you know in your heart that what you're doing is right. That's where the confidence and the courage comes in, man. Because if everything was supposed to be easy, we'd all be bored. We all would have walked off this planet a long time ago, but we don't. Because every day is a new challenge. It's a change that you don't like, you didn't ask for, but you got to do it. And the reason why you have to do it is because people are constantly receiving what you're delivering. And it gets old delivering the same damn thing every time you turn around. So you've got to reinvent yourself. You got to come up with better conversations. When I go to that grocery store, I show prep. I sit there and I look at the sports, I look at the news, I look at the weather, I look at what people are binge watching. I look at everything so that I can have a honest to God conversation with somebody. It's not that I want to go in there and say, yeah, man, I've been binge watching that show, all 10 of them this season. No, I want them to tell me what they've experienced in that. I just kind of plant the seed and let them begin a conversation. And let them share with me their points of direction about certain things, especially when it comes to politics. And I can't stand talking about politics. I don't want to talk about presidents. I don't want to talk about the potential of world wars. But man, it's in the hearts of those who are receiving. And now, here's the thing. Let's spin this around real quickly. Okay, if we need to put focus on those who are receiving what we're delivering, what about us when we receive what they're delivering? How should we act and react? Because so often, that's a mood changer. That's when the game suddenly goes in a completely different direction, and the only way out of it is to either speak out, get a little mad, emotional, or to basically say, hey, I understand where you're coming from. I'm not exactly on your side, but I'm so glad that you gave me your view. And the reason why it's so important is because it sharpens my skills to really get in there and find out more information about what it is that you're delivering today. Because in receiving what you're giving me today, I guess I didn't do all my homework, but I'm going to go do it. And this way I'll come back when I have that information in front of me. That's what I like about having a smartphone. I'll whip that baby out in a heartbeat. When I feel like somebody is telling me something that really doesn't agree with my interpretation, I just want to get us both on the same page. Ryan is very good at that. He'll say something about history or something about, modern day times. And it's like, Ryan, hold on a second here. Hold on. Let me go Google this real quickly. Because I don't want him nor I to be dominant. I want us to be equal in the conversation. We could have completely different ideas and interpretations, but we don't need to dominate each other as a I know more type of thing. My dad used to tell me all the time, don't be a know-it-all. As an adult now, about ready to turn 61, I get that. Because there are many times I want to look at people guess and say, do you always have to be a know-it-all? Really, seriously, do you always have to make sure that you one-up me? Because I brought something to you and you're going, oh, well, here, let me tell you about blah, 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 blah. And am I guilty of that too? I think I am. But I do stop when I notice that, when I think I have to have the last word in the conversation. There are many times, especially when I do these famous people interviews for the podcast, I don't want to be the one that closes off the conversation. I just want to hang up the damn phone is what I want to do. It's like, I'm done. Bye. I don't even want to say bye. In fact, I'm very guilty of that. I don't say goodbye to anybody because I think goodbyes are forever. So, what are you sending out, people receiving, and what are you receiving that other people are sending out? How do you deal with both sides of that conversation? And does it affect you in the way of changing your plans for the day or really kind of putting yourself in a situation of discomfort? Is there glory in it? I mean, when I hear the preacher man on Sunday start talking about how his wife, his kids, blah, 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 I'm going, jeez, please, come on. Give me some air to breathe. I didn't come here to hear about your family. Oh, really? Oh. So we only want to talk about me in this word of God. And so I kind of have to stop and go, you know what, let him do his thing. If he needs to use his family as an example, let it be. Let it be. Don't be playing a know-it-all or try to one-up the preacher because his family's having a bad time with their dog or something. So what are you sending out that people are receiving? What are you delivering? And what are you receiving that other people have delivered to you? In trying to come up with those questions, you got to question the answers. We could put ourselves in situations of everyday occurrences and be ready for one thing, the moment. And that moment is right now. But how are you receiving what is being delivered in this presence of right now? Are you ready? Do you have to be ready? If you weren't ready, what else would you be doing? And if you were doing that, then why was your choice to do this? You see what I'm doing? Ask the questions, question the answers. I'm not being hard on myself. I'm trying to understand the self. And that's why I call it defragging. It's no different than a computer. When it has to go in there and clear out all the cache and every freaking picture that you don't want anymore, it's got to go. Your life is no different. It's got to go. So how are you going to deal with those moments of, I got to let it go? Now, it doesn't mean that you have to run up to your best friend and start bragging about how you're letting things go. Do it in peace. Do it alone. We're doing that Swedish death cleaning, and we're in the emotional side of it. And what I mean by that is that I'm not running out to my friends and saying, hey, we threw out the barbecue that we haven't used in 21 years. We finally threw it out. Because they don't care. They don't care. Yeah, man, I got all these things from the radio station I worked at back in 1985. I'm throwing it out. They don't care. It's the same thing with your emotions. Most people really don't care. They'll fake compassion. They'll fake understanding. I'm not saying that people are hard asses and they just don't, they're heartless. What I'm saying is that what you think is important, what you are sending out and they are receiving, might be something they don't want to plant in their forest. They just want to get on with their day. There are many times I get in a conversation and inside my mind it's going, shut up. Please shut up. I got enough going on in my head. Don't give me your weight. Don't give me your weight. But we allow it to happen. We allow their weight to become our weight. And we have those voices and we also have their voice now because you keep hearing them say the same thing over and over again. Which might be a reason for me to say, stop it right now. You've said too much. You've already delivered the message. But did you receive it? Ask the questions, question the answers. I'm Arrow, and that's Vocal Defrag.